Hi there guys, it's been 9 days since my open carpal tunnel release surgery. I've been very comfortable the last week. As you've probably seen from my feed, I've been able to play the ukulele a little bit and squeeze a few tunes out for you. I saw my surgeon this morning and he removed my cast finally, but I did want to show you the scar. So I'm going to turn my hand around on the count of 3. If you're queasy, please look away, alright? 3, 2, 1. Hi there guys, this is 9 days after my open carpal tunnel release surgery. I've been very comfortable with the last week and a bit. Have been in no pain. As you might have seen from my Instagram feeds, I've already started trying to play the ukulele a little bit with some discomfort. It did swell and hurt a little bit from the effort. But this morning I saw my surgeon again for my follow-up visit and he took my cast off. My protective cast. That cast was actually really comfortable and kept me from using my hand too much, which was actually really good, which is probably what contributed to it not hurting very much or me straining it over the last week and a bit. So great idea on his part. After he took it off though, he put this little compression thing straight away on it just so I wouldn't get too obsessed about the scar itself. But I thought what I'd do is I'd show you the scar itself. It looks a lot worse than it actually is. My meeting with him lasted not more than 5 minutes. It was literally straight into his office. How are you? He cut the cast off. Showed me the scar. Told me that to watch myself. He said that I was to expect bruising and pain for the next 8 weeks or so, not a strain itself. But let me show you what this looks like. We'll see how we go. If you're queasy, please look away. In fact, if you're queasy, you probably want to skip ahead, I don't know, to the end of the video or stop watching because you're probably going to see a lot more of this. So here we go. I'm going to count down from 3. 3, 2, 1. That's it. I've got the scar's probably about 2 inches along. It is open carpal tunnel surgery, as I said, where he opened me up and then cut the transverse ligament, as opposed to doing it endoscopically where there'd only be a tiny little incision. So this is full open carpal tunnel surgery. So you can still see the stitches on that. They're dissolving stitches, so they should just disappear. And you can still see some bruising, dried blood, some bruising in the middle of my palm there and probably on my wrist. So he basically cautioned me over and over again from overusing the arm. So he said I'll probably feel very good about it. Oh look, there's a little arrow there where he pointed to where he was going to cut. Just in case he got the wrong spot or wrong hand. That was from the surgery, by the way. It hasn't rubbed off yet. Haven't washed it. So he basically said to be gentle with the arm. So to use some common sense, not to overstrain it because it can continue to bleed or bruise inside. My hand would naturally be weaker over the course of the next 8 weeks or so, but he expects it to all clear up and for me to regain my strength and normal use back in about 8 weeks time, which isn't so bad. So that's 2 months. To be honest, it actually is a little tender right now. So after taking it off, taking that cast off, my wrist seems a bit more exposed. I'm probably thinking about it a bit more. I've moved it around quite a lot more than I normally would with the cast. The cast stopped me from doing very much else apart from this, whereas now I'm probably bending my wrist back and forth a bit more. So it is a little bit sore. I felt I've had to take my Panadol. I haven't touched my opioid lollies yet, but I certainly have felt like I needed to take my Panadol. I did pick up the guitar very briefly for a bit, and yes, I've got quite a bit more movement than I did before with my cast on, but my hand started hurting pretty much straight away, so I've stopped doing it. So I think I do have to take it easy. I am feeling the strain a little bit, but hopefully it'll all be all right. I've still got movement there. It's all a little bit stiff, but coming back slowly. So I'll probably just take it easy as the doctor suggested and let myself heal over time. Just want to share a little quick tip on how I dress my open carpal tunnel surgery scar. If you're looking to try to get dressing that's just the right size to cover that scar, what I do is I get these band-aids with the transparent material. The transparent material is actually quite flexible, so it conforms to your wrist as it moves. Then what I do is I take one of those strips and I cut it up, the bottom part of that off, and lay that on top of the scar like this. And then take another piece, and then I lay that pretty much on like that, and peel it off. So they overlap like that. There you go. Hope that helps. Happy New Year. It's been 2 weeks since my carpal tunnel release surgery, and I think I overdid it. Last night was New Year's Eve. We went to a friend's house and caught up with some of my musical friends, and we couldn't help ourselves, or I couldn't help myself. I ended up jamming with them for about 5 hours straight, from 7:30 to 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. It was so much fun, I couldn't stop. I actually planned to simply just turn up and play a few tunes. I did bring one of my electric guitars just to have a light engagement, because I don't think I can handle an acoustic yet. And my little Hendrickson Bud, which is back with me, which I'm very happy about. And yeah, and we went through my my songbook and just played through things as we liked. It was so much fun. It was a great way to spend New Year's Eve. But yes, 2 weeks is probably too soon to still do that much work on the guitar. My hand is sore now. I woke up was sore last night as I was playing. I sort of worked through the pain. I was wearing a support bandage. I'll show that to you later on. I was wearing a support bandage to get me through that, and occasionally felt a twitch, but sort of played through it because you're in the moment. Can't stop. Hand is a bit sore now. Let me show you what's going on the other side of this. So here we go. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of bruising down the bottom of the wrist. There's bruising in the palm, which is a bit worse. It is generally sore overall at the moment. I feel it's a bit tender. And one of this seam in the scar has opened up. I think I've actually opened up the scar just very slightly at the top there. It might be a bit hard to see, but yeah, that's probably not a good sign. So yep, there you go. A little bit of blood showing through on that. So yes, you can overstrain your hand after carpal tunnel surgery, even if it's after 2 weeks. So it looks like I'll be taking it quite easy with this hand for a little while now. Good news is I have my pinky back. I can actually use it. So last night, after sort of moving it around for quite a bit, my mobility came back through all my fingers. Yay! Too bad I won't be using it for for a little while now. So yes, there you go. That's the hand. Hi there. It's day 30 of recovery from my open carpal tunnel surgery. So we're a little over the 4-week mark since my surgery itself, and I've been recovering very well, healing very well. As you can see, I'm back on the guitar again, at least to some extent. I've picked this particular guitar, Les Paul copy by Rizzolo Guitars. Beautiful instrument, but it's got a 24 3/4 inch scale length, so it's got a slightly shorter scale length, which makes it a little more comfortable for my hand to play. So I still struggle with pinky stretches, even little octave stretches like this, where I'm using pressure on my pinky, results in a funny clicking or popping feeling or noise in my palm. So something's still going on there. My palm still is a little tender. It's certainly vastly improved, but if I compare the sort of the feel of this palm feels like medium rare steak, whereas this feels like it's medium to well sort of thing. So it's still a bit of bruising in that, and if I overuse it, I will hurt myself. Funny thing is though, is that I actually think general use of the hand day to day, because it's so comfortable, I use it for everything now. I pick up heavy objects with it. General use of the hand day to day is actually worse than me playing, because when I'm playing, I'm actually conscious about my hand and I'm careful about how I use it, and then I rest when I have to. So general use has actually been a little bit uncomfortable, but all in all, it's been smooth sailing. So a couple of notes on the healing of the scar itself. After New Year's Eve, I mentioned that I was worried about the scar splitting at the seam at the top of it. I had the doctor check that out. As it turned out, that was all fine. He said that was actually probably the way my hand was naturally healing, and it wasn't probably unlikely something I did in terms of overplaying to cause that. So when he took a closer look at it, everything underneath that scar appeared to be healing well, and it was just the top layer of it that hadn't quite joined up yet. It since has joined up. Skin's been peeling around it, and it's all been quite good. So that was nothing to worry about, which was good. In regards to whether I feel a difference in my hand now, that's a bit more of a complicated question for me, because I've got slip discs as well, which led them to find the issue with carpal tunnel. So I was already feeling from the slip disc, I was already feeling numbness in both my hands. And I think that was really masking the carpal tunnel issue, so I wasn't really noticing it. They had to fix the carpal tunnel just to get that out of the way, so they can then work on my slip disc after that. So in my case, I'm not really feeling difference after the surgery with carpal tunnel. At a guess, there might be slightly less numbness or tingliness in that, but it's hard for me to tell. I've no doubt though that given the nerve conduction studies I did, that I did have moderate carpal tunnel, and it would probably have become a larger issue if I didn't take care of it. So still no regrets about taking care of it, but in my case, I haven't felt a definite difference pre and post surgery in regards to numbness or tingling in the hands, but I'm sure a lot of you who have just carpal tunnel will experience that. So here are a few tips I can pass on given my experience with carpal tunnel surgery. If your surgeon doesn't put a cast on you after the surgery to immobilize your hand, I'd encourage you to find a way to do that, because I think that cast, or even a wrist brace, get a wrist brace, wear a wrist brace, bandage it up, make it bulky, just remind yourself not to use that hand for the first week and a half. I think that contributed a lot to me being comfortable and to the healing process. So highly encourage you doing that if the surgeon doesn't do that for you. After a week and a half, when my cast came off, I used common sense. It did hurt. It was sore when I was playing the ukulele even, much less the guitar. And then I had that 5-hour marathon jam session on New Year's Eve, and I shouldn't have done that in hindsight. My hand was sore for a good week after that. but playing actually did get my fingers moving, so I hadn't realized how stiff my fingers had gotten from just not moving. So that's one of the things you want to watch out for. Try to move your fingers even if you're not playing. So don't do something stupid like I did and play for 5 hours, but yeah, figure out how to get your fingers moving. Particularly my pinky was very stiff, so that 5-hour session actually got my pinky moving normally again. So after that 5-hour jam session, I rested for a good week, 2 weeks. I didn't touch the guitar. I just didn't want to risk any more pain. And then at the end of week 4, so yesterday, day 29, I had a rehearsal with a little R&B rock band that I have a bit of fun with. And I tend to play horn parts and fills for that, and lead guitar more so than rhythm. The singer Gary Rizzolo, who builds these gorgeous guitars, tends to take over most of the rhythm parts in that. So that ended up being a very easy rehearsal for me. It's an easy one for me to do. If I don't think I'm ready to play a full solo jazz show, for example, or a show where I'm leading and playing and soloing for a good 2-3 hours. I'm not sure if I'm quite ready for that. I think I could physically do it. I just don't think I'd be performing at my best, because my hand gets tired, like a control, concentration is not there, so that sort of thing. But yes, so yesterday's rehearsal went for about 4 hours, got me right back onto the guitar on this shorter scale guitar, as I mentioned. That was a lot of fun, and this morning I just had a bit of a jam, so I'm pretty much feeling all good now. So I hope these series of videos documenting my experience with carpal tunnel release surgery has been useful to some of you. Do feel free to ask me questions in the comment section below. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have in regards to carpal tunnel surgery, or my experience with it at least, or anything to do with the guitar for that matter. I'm more than happy to chat. Do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell notifications to be notified when we release new content. And do like and share this video with everyone you think might benefit from it. So do also join us on social media. We've got an Instagram account, we've got a Facebook page, and we've got a Facebook group, the Guitar Acquisition Syndrome or GAS support group, where we will help you with your GAS. Come and join us in the group, post pictures of your guitars or your collections, have a chat with other members. We'd love to see what you have and maybe help you work out what your next purchase should be. So until next time, take care. Bye. Do you find when you put two guitars together, they breathe and another pops up out of nowhere? Then when you try to explain that, your other half looks at you like you're crazy. If so, click here to subscribe to GAS TV, because multiplying breathing guitars is a real thing.